I used to live with my dad and mom in the city, and my grandmother lives in the village, and I experienced my FGM procedure at the age of 8. We normally go and visit our grandmother whenever we have long holidays. My dad was supposed to travel to United Kingdom. At that time, he was against the whole thing of FGM and all this kind of stuff to girls. Then he left to come to the UK, and we were taken down to our grandmother when the school closed. And everybody was there, and we saw a lot of other cousins coming around, which we don't normally come together at the same time. So I was saying, oh, what is happening? Everyone was there. This family, my uncle, my auntie's children, we were all there. And we were happy, but we didn't know anything about like we were going to be cut or anything. Then one morning, in the evening, my grandmother told us, like, tomorrow morning I have to wake you guys up very early in the morning. Then we thought, why? She said, oh, it is now you guys are becoming big girls and you have to be cut, you have to be circumcised, because circumcision is one of the things which keeps a girl like together. You don't have the feeling of going to sleep with men, and you become so clean and you're pure. And so my heart started pumping the whole night. I was just thinking about it, and I was saying, oh my God, I used to hear it as a story, but now it's reality. And I started crying like, I want to go back. I want to go back to the city. The morning came anyway, and sleepless night, you're just thinking about it, and breakfast is not going down because I said I'm full. I was so scared. Then few of my cousins went ahead of me. 3 of them went ahead of me, and I could hear them screaming, and I was like freaking out. I was shivering, my legs were wobbling, and I said, oh my God, I'm gonna die today. The way they were screaming, I just saw myself like, if it's my turn, then I'll just collapse and die there. Then they grabbed me. One of the women, I don't even know who it was anyway. They grabbed me and they put me like hard on the floor. And I was crying. I didn't even hear whatever they're saying. I was just screaming and screaming and screaming. And I could see other pool of blood of other girls who went ahead of me. So when they put me down, the other woman locked me, like she put my hand behind my back and put her legs in my shoulders to lock me like backwards like that. So there's no way I could come out. And the other one was pulling me on this side, and the other one was pulling me the other side. So I felt like, like you're tearing apart. I was 8, and these women are 40, 50s, and they're pulling you like that. I felt the pain on my groin, like being pulled so much. The next thing I saw is this lady's hand. I couldn't even bother to look at her face. I was just looking, that hand, where is it going? And I could see a dark hand with a razor. And I was like screaming. The only thing I was thinking is just that hand just reaching my private part. Anyway, she cut me, and I felt a pain like inside my tummy. Not even there, but I felt something like very, very like so painful, like it went inside I felt it in my tummy. And the only thing I could see, like she was holding my piece of the meat of me and throwing it like, like it's just a nothing thing. It's just like, and I was crying and I was looking, and and I kept on looking at her hand. Is there any more? Is there any more? And then she said, okay, finished. Then they have them thorns. So they finished the cutting, so they have to put you together, to stitch you together. Then when I saw the thorns, I didn't know actually what it was for. then I saw it coming again to me. And I started like, oh, you know, you get so excited, the thing has gone, but now another thing is starting. Then she put like, no anesthetic, no nothing. And she pulls it in your skin, and it's even more painful than the cutting now, because this is a thick skin, you know, like it's like a muscle. Then they push that pin inside like that, and within a short time she finished anyway. But I was feeling so very bad and painful, and I was crying, and I was hot. The sun was too hot, and myself, I was boiling, and of the crying I had a very terrible headache, and everything was like, just, I wish I die now, instead of going through like, let me die, you know. But they don't care, so long as you just go through what they want you to go through. It's not you wanting, it's them wanting. Once they finish the operation, like the skin to skin has to bind. So they made some special ropes, which is they put it on your waistline, and then it crisscrossed you until the ankle. You have to stay like that, like for almost 2 to 3 weeks. Having the urine was the most excruciating thing, because the acid in my urine used to burn me, and I used to feel so painful. Here they ask you, in the scale of 10, I can say 100. And then I got my first child. And she said, do you know that you cannot give birth normally? And I said, why not? And she said, it's like it has damaged your pelvic. I don't know whatever inside there, but it's around my pelvic bones. And I remembered, you know, the lady who put all her weight on me. They could not understand when I said, you're hurting me, you're breaking me. She couldn't understand me. That is the time maybe all my horrible things started, and I got my first child through cesarean section. Then I came to England. Then my second child through cesarean section. Then my third through cesarean section. Personally, I don't like sex. Sometimes you know, like you can do it once, pretending. But when it comes to the following day, you just feel, no, I can't bear it. It's painful, and that is when now you have to get this like argument. And then the males start going outside, and you're angry. Now, why is he going to look for this thing outside? I'm your wife, I'm here. But you cannot give me everything, you know? And then the marriage has problem. At the end, maybe it collapses. And the other thing is like psychological trauma. Until today, my life is like, why? And I don't have an answer. Every woman who's gone through it, they have an effect. It has damaged them psychologically, mentally, emotionally, all sorts of everything. But it's only that maybe they cannot speak it up. Because they've gone through the FGM, then there's getting married. Also, having sex intercourse the first time is painful. Then there's giving birth also. It's another pain. It's like physically and mentally traumatizing, which brings them to like not wanting to know more, not wanting to pursue maybe your life more. You know, like they don't want, I'm just done, you know, like I'm just there, I'm just done. I work in the community, and not necessarily my own community. I work with all sorts of everybody. I don't choose what color or what race or what tribe or what religion. I go anywhere, I flow everywhere. Some women can talk to you because they trust you. You'll not like shove them off. I think they are not listened to the way it should be. Nobody can just wake up from their bed and they have a mental illness. Nobody can wake up from the bed and start becoming angry and moody and all this kind of stuff. There is a source, there is something behind it. So for a professional to go and dig out a lot of stuff, they have to work in their wavelength. And also my community and whoever who is like very proud should at least give the professionals also a chance to listen to you, because you don't speak up, they will never know. And if they know, you get the help. Professionals, teachers, nurses, doctors, whoever who is a professional, who is engaging with the community, should learn about the community, how they interact with people. And when you know how they interact, through who, how, then you will get more, and you will get more understanding of this community than just to brush everything under the carpet. Now in Britain, there's a lot of everybody, cultures, religions, backgrounds, we are just mixed up, intermingled with each other. Learn my culture, I will learn yours. Know me better, I will know you better. I think it's a two-way traffic, but if we dwell on one side, I will learn English, I will learn whatever, but I'll work in the hospital, in the school, but you as a principal, you don't know nothing about me. Yes, I'm a worker, but you don't know nothing about me. Learn my culture. It might help a girl there. Maybe there's a girl in the group who is going to be taken soon for an FGM. They will learn something about it.
My mum, her mum, her mum, and her mum, and her mum went through it, but my dad wasn't a believer of FGM. He didn't let me go through it until he passed away. Although he did believe in a different kind of FGM, not mutilating the person, but just pricking them, and that was it. It was like a party, a celebration. It was a prick on the clitoris, and just letting a little blood come out, and that was it. That was it. But with the other FGM is cut off everything. The labia, the clitoris, everything comes off. Everything comes off. You're left with a thigh, part of a pelvis bone and hole. That's it. That's it. It was in our house. I remember waking up early in the morning. It was very early, still dawn. Feeling woozy, trying to get up, and then fell. And the next thing I know, my sister's standing in front of me, giving me a glass of milk and telling me to go back to bed. She put medication in it to put me to sleep, to make me drowsy, so I wouldn't run away or fight back. I was woken up, told to come to the living room, and I was very dizzy, sleepy, dining table being put cloth on it, could see knives and stuff on the table. I was scared when I saw that stuff, and when I was told to come close and take off my pants, Then I got really freaked out. All I remember, I was crying. My sister was telling me, oh, today we cutting you up. It was scary. Still feels like it happened yesterday. The next thing I knew, her and her friend would pick me up, put me on the table, and I was tied on the table. My legs were tied on the bottom legs of the table, at the edge of the leg table. And the other two ladies were holding it. My sister was holding one and the other one was holding one. And that's it. I did go through a lot, did feel the pain. I had an injection, but I don't know what it was for. But I could still feel every single thing that was happening. And I couldn't cry. When I would cry, and next thing I knew was my sister putting something in my mouth. A cloth. Big fat cloth in my mouth. The windows, the doors were all closed. I remember that day, even the workers were sent home. I worked at home, the garden guy, the lady that cleaned the house, they were all sent away. So that you don't walk about and remove the stitches. So your legs will be crossed, or just put them together and tie them around for 2 weeks. Bed, toilet, that's it. And when you go in toilet, you have to hop. Properly hop. Painful when passing urine. Stings. Still remember how it felt. I remember every time how it felt. Every time I had a child. Just takes me way back. It's only 12. Less of a woman. Angry. Always low with self-esteem. Always paranoid, thinking that everybody knows that I'm not 100%. Well, I haven't spoke about it till the past 2 years. I was having counselling over and over and over and over. It never worked until the last 2 years. One doctor really did good to me. It was really good for me, and she I wouldn't say she helped me overcome it, but she just made me feel stronger and confident. He was a very kind man and very patient. But somehow he was glad I was a virgin. But we struggled for 2 years. He did everything he could. Even tried to spice things up. It never worked. And he couldn't take it anymore. Oh, been married so many times. And every man just leaves me because of it. Every man leaves me because of it. Because they think they feel they're less of a man themselves, not to satisfy me, that they can't satisfy my needs. In my culture, a woman who's married so many times, once fine, second time, third time, it's her fault. Fourth time, even worse. So we cast it like we, as you say here, mentally ill, out of the culture and out of the Somalian race. I've got 3 living children, and 3 stillbirths and 2 miscarriages. And I wouldn't say that's because of my FGM, no. But it's because of my well-being, probably. If that's the procedure I had to go through to have children, well, it's worked. But whatever pleasure or beauty in it that was meant to be, and it was never there. I've always had pains, and every time I had a child, I pushed my partner away because that pain of giving birth just brought back the pain that I went through with FGM. And it's not only me, I've seen a lot of people struggle. Some people don't even talk about it. And it's not only they don't talk about it, and that bit of not talking about it just builds up, and the next thing you see is them lashing out on their children or jumping to conclusions on their children or just being short-tempered, very short-tempered. And that's a lot with my community, my race, Somalian women. They're very short-tempered. In Islam, it's not allowed. It doesn't say anywhere in the Quran. In all the stories we've been told, it doesn't say anything to mutilate any genitals of females, that she should be cut or butchered or whatever, cut in pieces. When God created Adam and Eve, there was a reason why. When he created Adam, there was a reason why he created Eve for him. Why? For companionship, for sharing everything, including feelings. And if a woman is lacking that, what's the point? Oh, I would like them to teach a program in school when a girl from maybe year 4, to be told that this happens to them and that they need to be aware that it shouldn't happen to them. And if it did, then they got people to come to and tell. If they're scared of their parents, then they've got their teachers or the authorities. Just like how they're doing with the bullying and the internet, safety internet, how they're teaching at school. They should do that part of it as well. I think letting everything and everybody and everyone know what FGM is really about. The way you advertise door to doors, like next door neighbours need to know what's going on with their neighbours. They need to know that if that girl is safe or not. Because I was never safe in my own home. And this way you think that's the only place you would run to if you're in trouble or be safe in. I was never safe in my own home.
My sisters and my mother and my relative, they were all victims of FGM. But that time I don't have clue what happened to them. I never asked. But after I know what happened to my friend and his wife, that I realized what has been through. And then I decided to participate in the campaign awareness and education. First of all, the FGM is a family issue. FGM is a crime committed by the women against the women for the men. So the men, role of the men is to say, I changed my thoughts. When the men have the education about the religion, about the history, about the local UK law, he can talk to his wife. And the family, wife and husband, can talk the issues about the FGM. I always meet the Somali men at a Somali social club or Somali restaurant, and also meet them at Cafe Nero and Costa, and also the cafe in the town centers. So through the conversations, I don't start directly with the FGM, but the conversation starts with something else. Then I produce my posters and say, what do you think about the FGM? Then conversation start. So I always listen to the person, his idea, respect. Then talk about the history of the FGM and why the people do, and the pain and health problem that caused by the FGM. I was young at that time, and one of my friends got married, and night of the wedding, he cannot have sexual intercourse with his wife because she had type 3 FGM, completely close, but he tried to open himself and take a knife. He cut her badly, and she's been taken to the hospital and used spread in the village. Then everybody in the village talk about the issue. Then I talk to my friend. I also feel a pain and with him, and I have sympathy for him and for his wife. Then that's how I get involved first. My friend have a psychological problem, depression, stress, feel shame, guilty. Then and he have thought that to have a suicide, to kill himself. Then he divorced, and also he have the shame, and he must move from that town to another town. That's what happened to him. That's how I involved first. Then I realized this is a crime against humanity. It's child abuse. It's also problem for both men and women. There's a two different issue. North of Somalia, people from the south, they have different attitude about opening. People of north, they took to their wives, to the doctors, but the people of south, he must open himself. Otherwise, he lose his reputation and manhood, and will get bad name within the community. Then, what he's going to do? He try to open himself by knife, and he will damage his wife, and maybe can cause death for that to open himself. Then we discuss about the religion issues. When I talk about the religion, I say it's not written in the Quran. Some of them, they say it is sunnah to do type 1. Most of them, they disagree with the type 3. But they say type 1 or type 2 is no problem. And when I challenge and bring the history and say that it is sunnah, but it's not sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. It's a sunnah based of culture, sunnah of ignorance, not sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. Then I ask a question, or brought that idea that Prophet Muhammad never did to his daughters. How this can be a sunnah? Then they agree that it is false. Then they go back and make the research. Then they come back to me and say, yes, we agree. But it takes time, week or two, to have that peaceful dialogue, not debate. Peaceful dialogue within the peaceful environment and respect. The person changes his thought quickly, and easy for him to talk to his wife and to his grandmother and grandfather, and lead the change within the families. So family, mother and father, daughter, brothers, sisters, they all must come together to raise that issue. I think they will understand quickly and take the message if we use better communication and right approach. So it's the way you speak and the way you communicate. That's what's making it difficult or making it easy. It is through education. So the social service and the child protection team and the school, they have to work with the family, with the mother and father, and raise the issue in respectful way, not to label them. First of all, we have to create a letter that contains about the law of FGM, about religion, correct teaching of Islam, which is the prohibited the FGM, and the UK law. That letter will help to the family back home, the grandmother and grandfather who still want to carry on the FGM. Show them that letter. That's the person will say, I'm not going to do FGM to my daughter. If I do or do it, I will be arrested and I will be in trouble. So the family will listen. Also, the people who accepted that idea or participate in the campaign of FGM, and we will give them the letter that are member of the campaigning group against the FGM. That will be signed by the community leader and also put in the number of the police and the school, and that the people on the airport and also people of the back home, both, that the person will help his traveling. So to think only the criminalization and the punishment without giving the knowledge and the awarenesses, that will create a lot of difficulty between the community and also the local authority and the government. So working together with the community, with the key contact of the community leaders and the school and the parent and child protection team and social service, that will bring the change.